Go Mustang, the Coach Alexander Show, brought to you by Kim Assad, your real estate broker.
Hello, Mustang Nation. Welcome to the Coach Mike Alexander Show, Week 5. Matt Carnes, Grapevine Booster here, along with Coach Mike Alexander. Coach, congratulations on another win. You moved to 4-1. You had a hot Saturday afternoon out in Fort Worth. Tell us about the game on Saturday.
It was a hot one, but man, it was a good one. It was our kids played so well, and we're so proud of them. We knew it was going to be a physical game going in. Dunbar is a scary team. They were explosive on offense coming into that game. Big physical offensive line. I think we talked about that last week.
We did.
Defensively, they're very active up front, so we were, concerned about keeping our quarterback on his feet. But hats off to our coaching staff for putting together a good plan, and then our kids going out and executing it the way they did. Couldn't be prouder.
Well, you talked about it potentially being one of those trap games that you can't let your guard down because you need these wins, especially the wins that you should have, so you got it. Talk about what it took to get the boys ready to make sure they did what they were supposed to do.
Well, Dunbar's not a hard team to get up for because you turn the video on and you see athletes everywhere and you see physical play, and when you're preparing for these guys that if you don't come ready to play, they can embarrass you. Our kids were ready to play despite a lot of distractions. We didn't have school on Friday, and then it's a 1 o'clock start on Saturday, and it's hot and it's October, and we didn't have school today, so it's a 4-day weekend. The band wasn't there. The band had a competition at Pennington Field, so there was just a lot of oddities going into that game that I was a little bit apprehensive about. But I just kept telling our guys, hey, once we kick off, it's a football game, and you just got to show up and play. And boy, did they! Well,
good. Well, we talk a lot about the offense, and they're of course doing their job. But you being a defensive coach, I think at least one time this year, we should let you lead off with the defense. You said the best game of the year they played. Talk about the defense.
Man, they, we were giving away hundreds and hundreds of pounds up front.
And Stewart, as the running back set right of Kemp, man in motion Conley from left to right. They fake the jet sweep, and Kemp keeps it. He's tracked down from behind, falls forward for a couple, looked like to be Jackson Shadle, the outside linebacker that got a hand on him and brings him down, and it leaves Dunbar a 3rd and 11. They've got to get to the 35.
And our kids, they just played so hard. And did what they were coached to do, executed well. We flew around. We made fewer mistakes defensively in this ball game than we had, probably in the previous last 3 games combined. And man, they statistically it didn't look quite as good because of a couple late drives late in the 4th quarter. Once the game was in hand, but for 3.5 quarters, our defense absolutely stoned them. And couldn't be prouder.
3-by-1 set, trips to the right, one receiver left. Kemp throws it up for grabs into double coverage. Nearly came down with it. It's incomplete. Maurice Johnson was there, but Robert Acosta, the corner, along with Zachary Lasher, the safety that came over, knocked it away. Dunbar turns it over on downs, and now Grapevine has it 1st and 10.
Well, Zach Lasher had a big game, and Robert Acosta, last week's guest, had a big game. Talk about those two guys and how they led the charge.
Yeah, the secondary's improving. And Zach, especially, he, we changed a few things, coverage-wise for Zach, simplified a few things for him, and man, it made him play faster. And he didn't miss tackles at all. He was playing downhill and breaking on the ball. Almost had an interception on a deep dig route, but no, he had a fantastic game. Rob had a couple pass breakups. And some big tackles on the perimeter. So, generally speaking, I'd say, our defensive kids, they played their best game of the year.
Well, so that's good. Defense is developing, and they're going to have a challenge coming up this week with Carter Riverside, of course, so you'll have to get those guys ready for that. Moving to the offensive side, it was another strong performance from Allen, 20-23. He had over 300 yards. David Clayton had some big catches. He was getting about 30 yards a catch out there. Roshan, we'll see some highlights here coming up. He put up some more numbers this week. Jordan Brooks West, big scoring day with 4 touchdowns. Offensively, you're averaging almost 600 yards a game for the season. Talk about the offense as a whole and what's happening with that group.
They're really gelling. And if Coach Bishop was sitting here, he'd tell you that that's expected. You know, he feels like when our kids are executing, that they can't be stopped, and they're playing really well right now. And for a quarterback to go 20 of 23 against a really, really effective pass rush that Dunbar had is impressive, and it just speaks to the job the offensive line did, and it speaks to his experience and his giftedness, and then you add in there, some talented receivers that, are unselfish and run great routes and to help each other get open, and it's a recipe for success, and they're playing really well.
Well, we'll go look at some of the highlights here in a minute, but also your second team got a lot of action. Talk about some of the special teamers that got some action and what that means for the future of the program.
Well, there's no doubt that Cade Rhodes, he's the next in line at quarterback, and for him to get out there like he did and perform the way he did, and throw for over 100 yards himself, and just throw some magnificent passes to Alex Vergara and Jack Ertz. These are all kids that are going to be back next year, and so for them to perform the way they were, it's just gives a little glimpse into what life will be like after Allen graduates. So that's huge. It's huge for our confidence. So really, really proud of where those kids are.
Well, let's look at some of the fun stuff here. We'll look at a couple of the highlights here. We're first going to look at two of the running back stars, Roshan Prier and Seth Tejada. And we'll just listen to the audio here as they go.
Gets the line set. Two receivers each side, back to the ground. Prier starts right, cuts back up, to the left. Smith out of a tackle to 10. Another tackle to 5. Into the end zone for a touchdown.
So this is just a byproduct of us playing fast. I think we just had a long first down and hurried to the ball, and Dunbar was a little bit slow getting lined up. And if you're going to be slow getting lined up, our offense can make you pay. And here we go. We got Roshan again running a little outside zone into the boundary. He gets bottled up a little bit, cuts it back, and I can't believe he got caught. Actually, to be honest with you, I was giving him a hard time about it today, and but like I said, it was hot, and he'd toted the ball a few times, and so we got him out, and after this play, got him a little break.
So from a coaching standpoint, you are watching when they get caught from behind, I guess.
Oh, yeah. So here we go. We have Seth Tejada came in to play running back this week. I think he got a few carries against Poly the week before, but that's just him popping inside zone right at the chute, breaks a couple tackles and goes 94. Just so happy for that kid, because he's just a very unselfish young man that comes to practice, works his tail off, or whatever we ask him to do.
Well, that's good. Now we're going to go look at Jordan Brooks West. He had a big day as well. This is going to be his 4 touchdowns for the day. Let's talk us through these.
So Jordan just runs a good little dig route in the back of the end zone right here. Allen comes on. He's really not the primary target here. He's probably the third option. But Allen finds him in the back of the end zone for his first score of the day, which was good because Jordan he dropped a ball earlier in the end zone, and it was good for somebody to experience adversity like that, then come back and make plays like he did just time after time. That's him winning inside route in man coverage. Then he's gonna we're gonna throw a pat and go ball. We work this every day against press man coverage. Allen's developing a lot of confidence in Jordan, and that's not an easy thing to do. That's what your son used to do last year.
That's it. As I told Jordan earlier this season, we really have a lot of passion for that number 2, so make sure it carries on this year.
Similar route as what his second touchdown was, just getting press man coverage, so we stacked the receivers just to create a little bit of confusion for the defensive backs, and Jordan's able to win inside.
Well, it was a big one, 65-20, so congratulations on the win there. Looking ahead, you get back on the Friday Night Lights path. You've got Carter Riverside this week over at Hanley and Fort Worth. Tell us what we're looking for with Carter.
Well, they're struggling a little bit. They're having a rough season. They're, I think, 1-4 coming into this game, and so it's just a week where we got to go in and take care of business. We got to have a good week of preparation, not necessarily just for Carter, but just for for our season. We got to continue to improve every week, and that's what's on the agenda this week, is just getting better, being 1-0, and going into that game trying to get healthy again, get some kids back hopefully that have been out for the last week or so, if we do that, we'll just keep grinding.
Well, you've got them, and then of course you get into some of the district big games coming up. So you got to keep them healthy and put on a good show there. So that's it for this week, Coach Alexander's show. We'll see you Friday night, 7:30 at Hanley Field in Fort Worth.
Go Mustang! The Coach Alexander Show, brought to you by Kim Assad, your real estate broker.